Hi everyone, back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with another rumour has it video. That's right, the window may be closed, but it doesn't stop players being linked to Newcastle United. We've certainly had a few players linked this week, and big name players as well, actually, whether you believe it or not. Some of them have been shot down before they've even got out the gates, but we are going to try and cover as many of them as we can as the news, and obviously look at the player stats and let you know our opinion on it, whether we think that player will add anything to the squad. So I've got a big one here. We've covered him before. We're going to cover him again. When it stuck right into me. But just before I do, a little reminder, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. We're over 5,100 subs now, so loads of room for you guys in the Evermore community. We've got loads of content coming. The Champions League back on the horizon now, and the Cup's about to start, the Premier League and transfer links and rants. There's loads of stuff for us to cover, so it's definitely a great time to come on board and be part of the channel. It's all free to watch our videos. If you fancy being a member and you want to contribute to the channel as well, click that down there. It's only $1.99 a month to get early access to videos and loads of goodies that Mark's been cooking up for you in the lab, so you won't regret it. Subscribe, be a member, like the videos, help the channel grow, and there'll be loads more Newcastle United content coming from Evermore in the coming week. So let's get stuck into this player. Then who am I rambling on about this time? Well, I'm rambling on about a guy who likes to go on holiday and likes to talk to attractive women and say, fuck my club. That's right. I'm talking about this fella, Ivan Toney, that is always perpetually linked to pretty much every club, I think, in the media, but has been doing the rounds that apparently Newcastle have identified Ivan Toney as a player they want to bring in next year. So obviously, maybe when the season's finished, and maybe bolster that firepower, depending on where we finish in the league this season, and whether it's top four, whether it's more Champions League coming or whatever. And I've got an opinion on Toney, which I'm going to kind of cover before we'll look at the stats. I'll tell you what, let's do a little bit around. Let's look at his stats, and then I'll tell you what I think about this lad. But there's no doubt, absolutely no doubt, that this guy is a fantastic footballer. 27 years old versus Wilson's 31, as you can see there. He's a brilliant number 9. He leads the line so well. He gets goals, he gets assists, as you can see there. 21 goals in 35 appearances, 5 assists. His goal to game ratio is 0.56. His XG is 0.59. His shots are 2.73. Assists 0.07. Pass completion is 58%. He's a really, really good centre forward. And, he makes Brentford tick, really. He makes Brentford look so much better. Brentford are doing superbly well now without him, which is incredible. Because he is serving a lengthy ban of 8 months for 232 breaches of the betting guidelines in the Premier League or the football authorities, which again, I'm going to come on that in a minute, which kind of highlights my concerns about the player. But as a footballer, in terms of ability, there's no question any team that has Ivan Toney in their ranks has a real serious weapon on their hands. He is a phenomenal footballer. There's no question about that. Let's look at this kind of red, amber and greens. You can see there the greens, obviously goals and XGs, what centre forwards are paid for, the bread and butter. He's right into the greens. His non-penalty XGs, he's in the greens, his non-penalty goals, he's slightly in the ambers. Assists, he's slightly down in terms of players in position, but his through balls are right up in the 90-yard percentile. He's got a great way of just finding pockets of space and slipping passes through the likes of Mbeumo and Wissa and people like that, and it's just, he is an absolutely brilliant footballer. Touches in the air, maybe slightly low. He does like to drop people, likes to pull wide, and, likes to bully players as well. His aerials, he's very good in the air as well. And he's just a really good footballer. But why am I not jumping up and down saying Newcastle signing this lad? I'll tell you exactly why. And you know where I'm going with this. It's all about the attitude, not the ability. Ivan Toney, we had Ivan Toney when he was a younger lad. Obviously, we let him go, I think, to Peterborough. I don't really think he did get much of a fair crack of it, really. Rafa got rid of a couple of youngsters back then. Obviously, Toney was one of them. He's went on to be a really good footballer. His contract, he's got less than 2 years to run at Brentford. All the big clubs are sniffing. Manchester United apparently are interested in him. Chelsea have got an interest in him. I wouldn't go anywhere near Chelsea if I was him. Seems to be where careers go to die. Players or managers these days give that place a wide berth. Just keep on going to Fulham. I think you're probably better off down the road. But in terms of Ivan Toney's ability, no question at all. Like I say, he's a fantastic footballer. I think Brentford have been quoted looking about 80 million quid for this lad if you buy him within contract. 80 million quid is a lot of money to drop on a 27-year-old guy who, yes, is at the peak of his powers, yes, is a great footballer, but I firmly believe this lad massively fails the famous no dickhead policy that everyone talks about in terms of players coming off football club. I don't believe this is in any how character whatsoever. I really don't. I know in the past, great managers like Bobby Robson got the best out of the likes of Craig Bellamy, who were little shit houses and worky tickets and stuff like that as well. But I'm just not sure Toney would bring a balance to this squad. I think his ego and his attitude, I think, would upset the balance of this team. I really do. You look at someone like Jadon Sancho, and he's obviously gone through a bad time at Manchester United. It's not working from there. Things have been said and everything else. But I don't think there's as arrogant of a player in there as there is an Ivan Toney. Ivan Toney, just the stuff that he's done over the last few years. I mean, I was making a joke at the start there, but going on holiday and saying "fuck Brentford" on social media, where it's all going to go out there and be said, and you have to apologise for that. And then the betting scandal here as well. I just don't think the lad's a good apple. I really don't. And for me personally, I wouldn't drop that level of money on the lad at all. I really wouldn't. You might think I'm crazy. You might be screaming at your screen saying, "What are you talking about, Chris? He's brilliant. He's this, he's that, and everything else." Wilson ain't getting any younger, right? So we do need a contingency plan for Wilson. There's been some batshit rumours going around today. Again, I think from the Daily Mail that Alexander Isak is apparently on Barcelona's radar. Well, good luck with that. Because you got no money, you had to fraud your own club to get Lewandowski through the door. That's what they're talking about, replacement for Lewandowski. And I can't see Alexander Isak being let go by Newcastle United for that regard. I really, really can't. So I think Isak's here for a long time to come. But Wilson is 31, signed a new contract, be 32 when his new contract comes up. It's only 1 year extension. So that tells you they are building up a contingency plan for the future for when Callum does, go off, whether he goes down to the Championship, whether he goes to a newly promoted side or whatever it may be. But I don't think Newcastle, I think Callum's got another 3 years left in him, and he probably hasn't. In all fairness, at this top level, he's been superb. A brilliant ice cold penalty gets us the points there against Brentford at the weekend. But I do think they need a contingency plan, but I don't think that Ivan Toney is the man for that contingency plan. I think he's bad news. I think he's got a bad attitude, and I think that outweighs his ability as a player. If you were going to drop that level of money on somebody, and this might sound totally mental, and you might think I've lost me senses here, but I would rather go and spend another 20 million quid on Evan Ferguson from Brighton. I'd rather get that lad in. The shades of a young Haaland in there in terms of his aggression, the shades of a young Shearer in there really as well. Aggression, speed, goal scoring ability, but also a really good attitude by the looks of it. Good head on his shoulders, not getting caught up and swept up in all the noise. Seems to be a calm kid, seems to be surrounded by the right people. Along with that continue, I think if you give a player like that to Eddie Howe, with all of the raw ability he's got already, Eddie Howe could make him an even better player than he already is. So for me, if you're thinking about a long-term replacement for the number 9 shirt, I'd go for Evan Ferguson. I'd go nowhere near Ivan Toney. I think his attitude stinks. And I wouldn't want him anywhere near the football club, to be brutally honest with you. Call me mad. Let me know in the comments below. We always like to hear from you. Always do our best to engage with you. We're not a kind of channel to ignore people. If you take the time to type a comment, we'll take the time to reply. That's just how we do it in Evermore. And if it's something that you're interested in, smash subscribe, come and join us. We'd love you to be part of the community. It's a real safe space for difference of opinions. We don't attack anybody for it, as I said there. So they're all welcome in there. Come and subscribe, like the video as well, help the channel grow. And if you want to become a member, it's down the bottom there as well. Check it out, $1.99 a month. So it's less than a can of pop probably from the shop these days, because they rip your fucking eyes out. Thatcher's Britain, as they said, Max and Paddy. But I'm not getting off on that. That's a different podcast altogether. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We'll be back soon with some new Rumour Has It videos, I'm pretty sure. Until then, let's keep supporting that team. We'll call United. Let's enjoy the ride. It's a great week for Newcastle. Champions League, Premier League. Let's get it going. We'll catch you later. Cheers now. Bye.